is the approach for reaching out to them different? Would you say a little different than like reaching out to sponsors?
Yes, because so with the speakers, I normally have an introduction. Well, the sponsors do have an introductory email, but with the speakers, you want to give them more information on who will likely be attending this conference, right? Because you're going to have that information already before you reach out to them, because you want them to know the audience they're speaking to.
Mm-hmm.
And also, before you reach out to speakers, another thing that I found helpful is if you can find a little clip of them, maybe a YouTube video or something, because you want to make sure your speaker has a little bit of I know some subjects are really hard because no two events are created equal, but you do want to have a speaker with a little bit of charisma. You don't want your audience to fall asleep, or if you do have, if it's a very, very tough, meaty subject matter, maybe put that in the morning, right after the plenary session or after breakfast,
Mm-hmm.
when people's minds are fresh. But going back to your question, when I reach out to speakers, I really have a more, in my email contains information of who will be there and why we are reaching out to them. And of course, and you want to put this, be very transparent if they will get paid or not, right? Like we would like you to speak in kind, or in turn, you can have a vendor table. Or you know what I mean? Or you can stay after for this networking session, for this VIP reception. So so you need to offer all of that. Free parking, if you're not paying your speakers. But if there's paid, you would reach out to them a little bit more differently, right? And it's, you want whoever you have speak, you want them to show up, even if they are speaking complimentary. You still want them to show up, right? And so you kind of do have to throw in those incentives, like you will receive a speaker's gift. And another thing, and that's a huge thing, I love personalization. I mean, not to give a plug, but personalizationmall.com.
Okay.
Those have the best little personalized gifts. Now, always get gifts, even if the speaker's paid or unpaid. Ordering gifts from there, it really does add a nice touch to say thank you for coming to this event.
Okay. Yeah. I love when people give plugs because we're doing this podcast also to help people. So I will go ahead and link that to the bottom for people that listen and might want to learn more about that. And I think what you said is extremely important regarding knowing your demographic. And it's part of like the timeline of planning. And I think people tend to overlook how important it is to know your demographic and who is going to be coming to your event first before anything else, or else it's like you're going to have this type of audience and invite this other type of speaker that doesn't either connect with them or isn't what they want. So it's really important, and that's a good tip.
And it's piggyback on knowing your demographic. So whoever is your demographic, you're going to find them in different places, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for instance, we did a conference called the Business Growth Symposium with our target audience was small to mid-sized business owners, mostly government contractors.
Mm-hmm.
We reached out to, well, not reached out, but used the list, the public list that has a list of contractors who are certified, right? Small, minority, disadvantaged business owners, women-owned businesses. All those lists are public. So we sent out mass emailers to them, right? So depending on who your target audience is, they will be in different places, right? So if you're doing a huge festival for 20-somethings, you're going to do heavily advertise on Instagram or probably now TikTok, right?
Mm-hmm.
So your target audience location is not created equal. And I think, and that's one of the hardest things is trying to figure out where am I going to find these people and how am I going to reach out to them.
Yeah.
But again, your B2B, your B2B conferences, you're going to have to try to get the email addresses or obviously advertise on LinkedIn. But your general public conferences, you're going to, depending on the demographic, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. So it's nothing is created equal. And also YouTube as well. So yeah. And then the large festival that I did in the city, they had bus advertisements and billboards, right? So, but they had a large budget for that.
Yeah.
And that goes too with what is the budget, right? So a government organization budget is going to be different than a nonprofit budget, So you have to be creative and work with the client to figure out, okay, this is how we're going to spend our money to get the word out to this target audience. And then also another thing to remember, if you're a nonprofit, a lot of local radio stations, you can get free ads.